Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Creepy childhood experiences. Here's mine. Might have a couple more, but I doubt they are worth sharing. Be me. About 15-ish years ago, in second grade. No friends because my friends got put in other classes. One girl who also has no friends in class starts to talk to me. Her name is Natalie, and she wants to show me something cool at recess. At recess, all we do is play on these hand-swinging wheel things. She loves them. Day in and day out, we play on these things and buddy up in class. She's also the only kid in my class who came to my birthday party. Important later. At some point, she misses a whole week of school, and after that, her attendance becomes real spotty. She always dodges my questions when I ask. She stops coming to school altogether. I assume she moved, but when I ask the teacher about it, she acts like she doesn't hear me at all. Ask the other kids in class, but reach the conclusion that no one seems to know who I'm talking about. Ask my friends and her friends from other classes, but no one knows who I'm talking about. Get very confused as to why no one remembers her. Ask my mom since she came to my birthday party, if she remembered her since she was the only kid from my class that came. She not only remembers her, but has her parents' phone number. She calls them, but gets a message saying the number is unavailable and doesn't exist. To this day, I have no idea what happened to her, nor do I have proof that she actually existed. Any similar stories or creepy childhood stories?
When I was 21 or 22, I was driving my Dodge Neon through an intersection in an unfamiliar neighborhood, and I was lost. My GPS had died and I needed directions. I saw this older kid, like maybe 11 or 12, so I rolled my window down and asked them to come over to me. They moved a bit closer, maybe 30 feet away, and I was about to ask how to get back to the interstate. Then another car approached the four-way, and it suddenly hit me how it probably looked. Me trying to talk to some random kid on a bike. So I waved my hand away at them and drove off. In hindsight, I imagine the kid thought my intentions were nefarious and that I was going to try to get them to get in my car or worse. TLDR, the kid probably thought they avoided getting roadblocked, but it's still good they weren't a complete dumbass and were in a busy area.
I remember going to a birthday party. This birthday party was in your run-of-the-mill party at a pizza and games place. Don't remember exactly, but I'm 80% sure it was a Peter Piper pizza. Anyways, the party went pretty well. I remember that it was actually the first time I tried and liked pizza since for some reason I had previously told my mom I didn't like it. So I never ate any prior to that. Though that day was the exception because it was all there was to eat. We were a handful of kids, actually. Around 8 to 10 kids attended this party, and everyone was having a pretty good time. Moms were chatting at the tables while us kids had fun. I'm sure they were glad there were no accidents or incidents that required specialized mom attention. Okay, so you might ask, what is creepy about all this, Anon? Well, I'm glad you asked. At around 8 p.m., 2 hours before they closed the mall and 1 hour before they closed the pizza place, something was off. I could tell, but no one else could. The apparent atmosphere of the place shifted drastically, and one could really feel as if they were being observed, watched, or monitored. For some reason, the fun screams and ticket-winning noises were replaced with the mall noises, along with the idle arcade machines and kitchen noises, even though the place was just as full as when we arrived. I directed my attention to the rest of the mall. The place had this half-windowed section where you could only look at the rest of the mall, but no way in or out. I noticed that over there, in the distance, was someone standing, and looking directly at me. I remember him perfectly. He had a red hoodie and some loose jeans with a black backpack on one shoulder. He never stopped staring at me. I asked the birthday girl, "Hey, who's that?" She answered, "Who's who?" Even though I told her where the guy was and described him exactly as I did now, she didn't see him. I changed my attention for a second, and then looked back, and the guy vanished.
Chilling alone in the school field in elementary. See a homeless dude with a trench coat at the fence just staring at everyone with long-ass hair covering his face. Nope the fuck out of there. A week later, the same guy follows me to my house. 4 a.m. starts banging on my door, yelling to let him in. Dude, I'm a fairy, let me in shit. Nope. Call the cops. Cops are slow. He's gone. Same night, the guy went on a rampage in the gas station 4 blocks away with a machete.
At Walmart with my mom once, and I went off to the toy section by myself. This girl, about my age, 10, came up and told me that her mom was out in the parking lot. She needs help, she said. I forget why the girl said her mom needed help, but either way I was a little bastard, and I just ended up making fun of her and her mom. Then the girl just changed her story and said her mom had tons of candy and chocolate and was giving away coupons to Toys R Us. She told me to follow her, and being autistic, I did. So we exit Walmart, and I'm following her across the parking lot, and she points to an old car and says, "They're all in the back seat." I notice there's no mom, just a couple of dudes sitting in the driver's seat. Then, for some reason I've never been able to figure out, the girl tells me, "Run back inside. They want to kidnap you." Again, little spurg, I say, "Huh?" And one of the dudes steps out of the car and starts briskly walking up to me. The little girl pushes me away and shouts, "Leave him alone!" Really loud. There's a little crowd nearby and they turn to look. The guy gets visibly nervous and grabs the girl and me by the arm really naturally. But by this point I get my bearings and start yelling, "Hey, let me go!" and struggling. The crowd is really noticing us now and I'm yelling, "Help!" and start screaming for my mom, struggling hard, and the guy's got his hands full with both of us. So he just lets me go and grabs the girl and throws her into the car. The driver has cranked the ignition by this point, and when the dude gets into the passenger seat, the car peels the fuck out of the parking lot and takes off down the road. That's pretty much it. My mom was pissed when she found out what happened. I don't think police were even called. This was back in the 90s and people were kinda brain dead about shit like that back then. I looked for that girl later though. Tried to find pictures of missing girls in my home state, but never found anybody that looked like her.
When I was 5, I was being babysat by my cousin. She's in her 20s. And we were in the backyard along with her toddler, and I got jealous that she was giving him more attention, so I ran him over with an electric toy truck. Pick related. But mine was higher off the ground. He was fine, but crying. She then gives me a bath that is filled to the brim and up to my neck. I thought this was strange, as I never had the water that high before. And she left the room for a while, and it was a really long bath and I had to ask if I could get out now. Realize about 15 years later that she wanted me to drown.
When I was 5 or 6 years old, I lived in a quadplex apartment. Directly behind the backyard, there was a massive construction site. They were building about 40 townhouses for retired people. Me and my brother used to go into them all the time to explore. It was amazing to me and I was obsessed with them. We would be there every day for the summer. One night, me, my brother, and a girl our age that lived below us were all playing outside in our yard. A stereotypical white van pulls up beside us. The dude opens the back sliding door and says, "Hey, You guys like those construction sites? I'm the manager down there. I'll show you guys around. If you want to, hop in and we'll go down there. I thought that was cool as hell, so of course I say yes. I get in the van, actually inside, when my brother, who is 2 years older, grabs my arm and pulls me out and says, "We should go ask Mom and Dad first." So we go and tell them, and my dad runs outside, and the moment the dude sees my dad, he takes off. It didn't hit me until this year when I realized that I was 5 seconds away from being trapped in the van and getting killed. This was in Minnesota, about 5 years after the Jacob Wetterling case. I don't think it was that dude's murderer, though, because this guy was scrawny, dirty blonde hair and dweeby looking.
Not a paranormal story, but I think some Roblox guy was going to try and grab me. Be me. 13 years old. Was at karate with my best friend from school. Hurt my foot and couldn't do any more stuff. Teacher says I can sit outside. Go sit outside on a table. It's kinda dark. The karate place is sorta out of the small town I was in, so there's not many street lights about. Friend comes out and sits with me and we start talking about stuff. A black car drives by, kinda going slow. Don't think much about it since it's dark. The car drives by 4 more times. Note: windows are tinted. Number plate is visible. Friend was spooked by the slow car. Car comes by and stops. Engine still on. I'm a bit worried. Pickup time isn't for like another 45-ish minutes, and the car is maybe 5 or 7 steps away from the table me and my friend are on. Notice the number plate is not on the car now, and the lights are off. Guy steps out of the car. While doing so, see another guy in the back seat. He starts talking and asking stuff. Is this a karate place? What's that belt color mean? Have you got that ice pack for your foot? How did you hurt it? How long till this place closes for the night? My friend and I are spooked. Think he sees the missing number plate too. While trying to start a conversation with 2 13-year-olds at night, he starts slowly walking over to us. Gets kinda close and asks me, "So does that belt mean you're any good at karate? Feeling up for a little game? I used to do karate some years back." The guy looks like he's in his mid-40s. He ignores my friend. I say I don't want to play a game, my foot kinda hurts. Teacher comes out, asks the guy while walking over who he is waiting to pick up. No other cars in the parking lot. Pedo guy starts saying we were yelling and swearing at him when he drove past while walking back to his car. Teacher just says he would have heard us if we were yelling. Guy quickly gets into the car and speeds off down the road. And that's the story on how I maybe nearly got kidnapped.
2002. 11 years old. Sleep over at a friend's house. We play a penalty game. The loser has to sleep in my friend's sister's room, which had a lot of pink and flowery stuff. She was staying with his aunt that night. My friend Mark loses. Goes to sleep there. We wake up the next morning. There is no one in the sister's room. The bed is empty. We can't find Mark anywhere. Police are called. Get screamed at by my parents for leaving him alone. No one ever saw him again. Mark's mom keeps harassing us, waiting for us after school and shouting at us, accusing us of what happened. Eventually, her husband put her in a psychiatric hospital.
My old house a couple towns over was haunted. Always felt creeped out and uncomfortable when alone, especially upstairs. Sister and I were playing in her room once and a book randomly fell from a shelf. We ran downstairs screaming lol. Always felt like I was being watched. Heard a bunch of banging around in my closet one time while I cowered in a corner or something once. Hear really loud bangs on my computer desk nightly since I'd moved in. Hide under the covers most nights. One time, a little fairy stick figure randomly fell from my computer desk. Little sister said she saw a little girl sitting in her bedroom chair one time. Another time, trying to nap on the downstairs couch, facing the back of the couch with eyes closed. Hear little sister whisper my name from behind me super quietly. Turn around, no one's there. Think sister is pranking me or something. Look everywhere she could possibly be hiding in proximity. Nothing. Ask mom where sister is. Mom says she's out playing with the neighbor's kids. I remember the night the weird shit really kicked into gear though. Hiding under the covers, especially freaked out this night. Hear what sounds like an old man exhaling really slowly a few feet above me. Entire left side of my body gets cold. I can't remember much else about that night, but that in particular really creeped me out. One time I got home from school and no one else was home, and I felt like I was being watched or something by the house itself. I would just sit in the yard, terrified, waiting for my mom to get home. I eventually developed a habit of sleeping in the upstairs hallway because I was too freaked out to sleep in my room. Once, I heard what sounded like a little girl giggling from downstairs while everyone was asleep. I've never felt so consistently creeped out in any other place I've lived in, but my cousin on my stepdad's side of the family has her own place in Georgia. Every time my family goes to visit my stepdad's family in Georgia, my niece, cousin's daughter about 8 years old, begs me to stay the night at her house. And how could I ever refuse? Every time I go there and head upstairs, I'm instantly creeped out. I don't know what it is. Nothing weird has ever happened to me there. There's just something up there that feels really dark and oppressive. Apparently, I'm not the only one who feels that way about the upstairs. My sister and a friend of my cousin's have said the same thing.
I watched a kid getting abducted in the dark. I was 8 and going to the mall to play arcades alone. I watched this man with a kid on his arm like he was asleep. Nothing weird really, but then I heard the screams of a woman saying that the kid was hers, and the man quickly entered the van and drove off. The heartbreaker screams of the woman, "That's my daughter! He took my daughter! Help!" are printed in my head forever. When I went home, my parents told me that there were various cases of abductions in the area and prohibited me from going into the arcades. The real creepy part is that before all of this, I encountered a man on my way to the mall that offered me an ice cream. He was sitting alone on a bench. I just ignored the man and kept going. When I was in the arcades, the same man approached me to play with me and started asking about my name, where I live and such. I was completely oblivious to the treacherous situation I was in. The man said to me that he had similar arcades in his home and still had the ice cream with him, constantly offering it to me. Like, you wouldn't believe how unaware I was in this situation, paying more attention to the game than to the things this man was telling. Long story short, the guy in charge of the arcades who knew me quickly recognized the fishy situation and started talking with the man. I don't remember what they were talking about, but the man left, and the arcades guy asked where my parents were and if I could give him my parents' number. I lied to him, saying I didn't know to not get in trouble, and left to my house, as if nothing happened. Didn't tell this story to my parents until I was a teen, and recognized that I was inches away from getting abducted.
Leaving my grandma's farmhouse late at night. It's pitch-black dirt country roads. All you can see is what's in the headlight beams, but my dad notices something in the ditch, gets out to investigate, and comes back a few seconds later to tell us to stay in the car. He's going to go get my uncle. Walks back the half-mile to the farm, leaving us with the car running and spooked. I'm the oldest kid, and I'm only like 10 at the time. Try to look in the ditch, and I can just see something wet and glistening at the edge of the light. Dad and Uncle show up a few minutes later. They're both holding rifles. I open the door to ask them what's going on. My dad immediately yells to stay in the fucking car. I can count the number of times he's yelled at me on my fingers, so this must be serious. They disappear into the ditch. I don't hear any shots, but I see my dad go racing off down the road into the dark. Comes back 30 seconds later and hands the rifle to my uncle. Gets in the car and starts driving. Won't tell us anything about what just happened. This was right after Signs came out, so I was convinced it was an alien at the time, but I'm pretty sure it was a calf that got attacked by coyotes or something. My dad says he doesn't remember it at all.
Be me, 8 or 9 years old. Had a sleepover. Sleeping on the floor in the living room. The kid I'm staying over with is asleep on the couch next to me. There's this TV in front of me from where I was sleeping that we watched Pokemon or some shit on. Wake up in the middle of the night. It's normal to me since I generally slept on and off at the time, so I just look around for something to drink before sleeping again. Look at the TV when I get off the floor. The TV has a girl I don't recognize looking back at me. It's not the kid I'm staying over with or my own reflection since I can see my own. And the kid is lying down. Can't tell if the girl is sat up or just really short. She looks around my age, maybe a bit older. She has kind of wispy curly hair, and overall just seems like a normal sleepy kid. Get scared out of my mind. Hide in the bathroom. Must be maybe 20 to 30 minutes later I feel okay to come out. Tired. Realize that the reflection of the girl isn't in the TV anymore. Go back to sleep. I keep remembering this, and I'm almost certain that it wasn't some weird fever dream or anything. And I've seen things like this before, but so rarely that I have no clue if it's all just a coincidence or not.
Be me, 10 years old. With my grandma buying groceries, I'm young, but for some reason, she wants me to carry the bags. Grandma tells me to go look for some fruits or something like that. The fruit section is on the opposite side of the supermarket. Have to walk all the way there. Get there and ask this employee where I can find that fruit. He kneels down. As a kid, I was very short, and this guy must have been around 6'1". Starts telling me how cute I am, how much he loves my hair and eyes. They're green, and my hair is light brown, which is not that common here, but not rare enough for him to act like that. For some reason, I ran away, even though I was pretty shy and respectful around adults. Tell my grandma I couldn't find that fruit. Probably escaped from being groomed, since we were in a supermarket and there was no place for him to take me. Still fucking creepy.
Have a friend in kindergarten called Ben, who used to play with me and my brother. Ben had blonde hair and was skinny. Really good friends, and we played every day. After kindergarten, we never see him again. According to parents, he moved. Fast forward about 6 years. B12 and playing outside with my brother outside our house. A chubby kid with brown hair and a short friend comes walking. Asks me, "Hey, Anon, is that you?" "It's me, Ben." Doesn't look like him at all, and the way he and his friend talks is very weird. Asks if we want to come home to him. Get an uneasy feeling but follow him. Play some games at his house, but it feels pretty weird. His friend barely speaks and looks down all the time, and Ben speaks in a very cold, robotic way. Nothing like the cheerful kid we once knew. Leave. Never meet him again. I didn't think about it for many years and always thought that it had been a dream I had. It really felt like it, until my brother asked if I also remembered it. He also described it as feeling like it never really happened and that it felt unnatural.
This actually reminds me of a story I actually grew weary of telling because people just thought I was crazy. But this happened in 10th grade. I wasn't a child, so technically this doesn't fit the thread, But whatever. I haven't thought about it in years, and it's always bothered me. 9th grade, new school, make a bunch of new friends. One of them is named John Bateman, a redhead kid with freckles and braces, one of those kids who walks really slow even though he isn't fat. I had him in 2 classes, gym and history. He played decent basketball and seemed like an average student. The point is, I knew this kid. I remember him clearly, and I remember his personality and mannerisms. He was one of the first friends I made. Summer vacation arrives and I spend it alone because that's how I roll outside of school. Fall rolls around, starting 10th grade. Don't see John anywhere. Hey, maybe he moved over the summer. Move on with life. In the spring semester, this kid a few lockers down from me calls my name, says what's up, and nods his head. He moves exactly like John Bateman. That's literally my first thought. But the kid doesn't look anything like him. It's a completely different kid, with different hair, kinda curly and brown, no freckles, and really skinny with a really fat face. Without even thinking, I just say, John. And he nods and smiles, again, exactly like John Bateman would. I ask him why he looks completely different and he just laughs. Says I've still got the same sense of humor. Says he'll see me later. He's got to run to class. Walks off all slow, just like John walked. And here's the clincher. I never saw him again. I still cannot wrap my head around this experience. It makes no sense to me. I keep trying to find a rational explanation, and I can't.
All these stories about people randomly disappearing and no recollection of them ever existing joggled my noggin. Be in uni. Be real tight with this one chick in my class. She has a friend who's always with her. We all live a few towns away from uni, so we frequently travel together by train. Kind of an aspie, so hardly ever speak to her friend, but she's always there with us when we travel or go get coffee. One day her friend stops coming to uni. Think she probably got a job or something. A month goes by, and I ask the chick why her friend isn't coming to uni anymore. Literally who? Anon. I don't know that girl Lel. I see they must have gotten in a fight. Some more time passes by. Casually bring up the missing girl to a few of my colleagues. Nah, I don't remember seeing anyone like that. Literally what? Go on FB to check our class group. Even people who dropped out are still there. Literally nothing. Try looking her up by name. Still nothing. And this happened in my adult life, not as a kid. Also, I'm from the third world, so we don't even have witness protection.
Live in a rural town. Not so tiny where you literally know everyone, but small enough to basically recognize everyone's face. Midday, walking along a back road with my friend. An old guy that looks like a mix between a homeless man and a wizard like Bombadil or something rides by on a children's bike with a front basket. The basket is full of flowers and other shit I can't remember. Calls out to us, make sure to stay on the left side or the something will get you. Oh, okay. Friend reads my mind and jokes, was that a fucking wizard? Never seen him before, never seen him since. Forever refer to him as that wizard.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.